they'll usually be. This week in structure of argument, we have 2 chapters. One chapter is in terms of on the structure of argument. One thing is about in terms of the Toulmin rhetoric. It's a good thing to remember in terms of that Toulmin rhetoric. That's something that for some of you it's going to be review, but it's a thesis statement formula in which you have the claim that is backed by in terms of data and evidence, and that is based on in terms of original warrants and beliefs that you had about a particular controversy. So works up from the warrants to beliefs to in terms of the data evidence that builds up that claim. And something that seems to be a lost art anymore is in terms of that qualifiers. Something's not always true. It's something usually because of good opposition and good points that they have. Usually you're going to have a qualifier or something in situations where this will not happen. So you have the qualifier of we will allow merchants to remain open until 10 p.m. Then there would be a curfew until 6 a.m. Something that we're starting to see in some of our towns in Northwest and cities in Northwest Indiana in terms of people at the stores. So it's something that, again, it actually makes it more winnable and more accurate in terms of those qualifiers in a claim that you have or an argumentative thesis. The other is Rogerian argument. It's something that it's really looking at that it's a negotiating tactic is where it comes from by Carl Rogers, family counselor and also person that was a negotiator, an arbitrator. And it looks at in terms of what's the common ground that you and the opposition have. Do you have common goals? Many times when it's an issue of public safety, those things are going to come together like in a circular Venn diagram, and you'll have the common goal being reached. So that's chapter 1 in terms of some of the main things to know. Now, chapter 2 gets into in terms of critical reading of written arguments. And of course, what we mean by critical reading, again, in review, is in terms of a close reading, having a method of reading in which you do a close reading of the text so that you learn things from the text and remember it. Also have in terms of usually some kind of annotation or note-taking system that you have. In terms of for digital versions, of course, you can do highlighting or copying in terms of key passages and putting some things in your own words. It's also something that is called sometimes a dialogue journal that you can form in a notebook with some summarized material on one side in a 2-column format. And on the other, you have in terms of some impressions that you have and some commentary about the text. And it's analyzing and taking a look at where is that author coming from, what is their angle, what's their approach to the material. Are they trying to be more objective or are they being selective and argumentative in terms of and subjective in terms of their presentation? Usually most presentations are not going to be totally objective, that there's going to be some sort of angle which something's being presented. Many times in reporting, it's called arguing to inform. So we'll have in terms of some, of course, more video lectures and things of this format. There's also going to be a written page that's going to be included at the beginning of Module 1 for this week that I'll compose and I'll have up by Monday. But in the meantime, best wishes for your writing quarter, and please stay safe out there. Take care.